Women of Reddit, what do men do that they think is okay but is actually creepy? Maybe it's just me, but asking if I live alone. Now if at this point of inquiry there was an already established friendship, I suppose it's okay. But if you are a stranger or an acquaintance, that would freak me out. Few years ago I lived in Pittsburgh. I didn't have a car, and when I needed litter/hay/pellets/treats, I'd walk a few miles, buy en masse, and strap items to my back to walk home. One time a guy stopped me to chat, offered to help me take my stuff home, and kept insisting when I said nah, I'm good, I do this all the time. I maybe shouldn't have told him home wasn't very far away. I finally told him my roommate probably wouldn't approve of a random guy coming in. He paused, looked like he was digesting this information, and asked if my roommate was male or female. I said male, and he actually backed off quickly. Like he physically left within seconds of hearing it. Richard Harrow was my roommate at the time, and he is a bunny. But really, I had to resort to that. If you'd said here's my number, no pressure to call it, I just think you're interesting, that'd have been fine. But repeatedly inviting yourself into my home after you noticed me walking is severely inappropriate. I hope this guy was just a social dupe and not looking for trouble, but if I just met you 2 minutes ago, I can't tell. Restrict movement in any way. Pinning me in a corner, holding my wrist down, blocking my escape, etc. may make you feel powerful, but it makes me worry I will be trapped for a while and then dead. Whenever a guy does that and isn't letting go, I straight up start to scream. You wanna hold me down and overpower me? Enjoy the consequences. A coworker asked me out as he was giving me a lift to the train station that was on his way home. I gave him a non-committal answer, and he then offered to drive me home. That would have been a 25 miles detour, and he knew that, instead of the station. We were on the highway and I started to feel trapped. I had to refuse several times, but he kept insisting he did not mind. I eventually had to make up an excuse that I was meeting my mother at my arrival station to go shopping anyway, and only then he relented and dropped me at the station. Follow you around while you're out, because they want to keep talking to you after you've already made 2 attempts to end the conversation. A guy who sat next to me on a plane and wouldn't stop talking to me, even after I put on headphones, tried to walk me to my connecting flight even after I refused to give him my phone number. He finally left when I went to the women's restroom. Yes. Guys who do this not realizing how creepy it is, please realize, you sometimes have to take no for an answer, despite what 95% of romantic comedies show. Sorry, but we don't want to be nasty or hurtful to you. But if we're acting like we're not interested, we're not. Please don't make it worse for everyone, by forcing us to be even more blunt as time goes on. Block and exit while trying to start a conversation. Just don't do it ever. A guy started dancing with me on the dance floor at a club, and me and a friend left for the bathroom. She grabbed my hand and led me away, and he grabbed my other hand. She kept a tight hold, and so did he, so I'm stuck like Jesus on the cross in a packed dance floor because this creeper didn't want to lose sight of me. I was a half second away from stepping on his foot and elbowing him in self-defense mode before a random girl grabbed my arm where he held me and wrenched his grip away. I didn't have time to thank her before running into the crowd, but she saved me big time. Honking, yelling, or some form of catcalling while I'm running or even just walking down the street. I don't think any relationship in the history of ever started with some creepy guy catcalling a random woman walking down the street. Why is this still a thing? I hate it. What if they're a goose? I've come across a few men who don't seem to understand that I have a boyfriend means I'm not single and I don't want to be pursued or flirted with. I tell guys I'm married and it still doesn't always stop them. One guy even replied with "You happy?" I eventually figured out it is more effective to just say you're not interested in them. I thought for ages that I have a boyfriend was a nice way to point out maybe they're interesting but I'm not available to even consider it. But enough people saw that as a challenge that I switched to nope, not interested. In the words of Johnny Bravo, you look like the kind of girl that could use to 1. Flirting with me in a position where I can't leave, like an Uber or a taxi. It's terrifying. One time I had an Uber driver flirt with me the entire time I was in the car late on a Friday night after a party. I tried to stop responding and he kept telling me how beautiful I was and how I needed a nice man, etc. He actually ended up skipping my street and I thought I was going to die that night. Most of the times when women don't want to talk with you / aren't interested and you keep pushing it, we get scared that we're gonna get assaulted or killed. A real possibility at any time. 2. I've had men who have been on FaceTime in public follow me with their phones talking to their friends about how I look and such, and it's just really uncomfortable because I didn't consent for my body to be recorded and sent to your pals when I'm just trying to get my fucking groceries. The Uber one for sure. I've had a guy literally take my school notebook out from my hands and write his number on a page. I was so scared that he knew where my house was after he dropped me off, and he sat outside for like 10 minutes just looking at my house, obviously not waiting for another ride. He can do that anywhere else. I had to call a friend to come over. When he left, I reported him to Uber for being inappropriate. Where's my hug? If you have to force a hug, you don't have a hug-level relationship with that person. My favorite part is when you say you won't hug them and they act all offended like you wronged them somehow.